Background of MBSB Bank. MBSB Bank Berhad is a full-fledged Islamic bank. On 6 November, MBSB joined a share and purchase agreement with the shareholder of SYAFINAS Bank Berhad for the proposed acquisition by MBSB of the entire equity interest in AFB for an agreed mission. The main mission of Bank Muamalat is to provide the best value to shareholders, society, and the environment in an ethical manner. The vision of Bank Muamalat is to be the top choices for Islamic financial service provider. Objective Bank Muamalat is introduce an Islamic banking system that emphasizes the principle of faith and integrated type of industry and product. Bank Muamalat Malaysia Berhad provide two types of industry and product, which is business banking and consumer banking. Number one is business banking. Under the business banking, there's a lot of products and services that are provided. For example, corporate banking, investment banking, SME financing, commercial banking, and trade finance.
Hello, Assalamualaikum. My name is NURUL SYAFINAS. So, I will continue about financial service that provide under Bank Muamalat. First is hire purchase. Hire purchase is a type of the service that are usually provided by a financial company or bank, and it is the most way for customer, including Islamic customer, that wanted something but they don't have much money to buy it. Usually hire purchase work financing for the car for the customer, and the ownership of the car is transferred to customer after all the installment have been paid up in full. But the benefit is the customer has the right to use the car during the payment period. Name of the service of hire purchase that provide under Bank Muamalat is Muamalat Vehicle Financing I. Muamalat offer vehicle financing facility for their customer. With this service, it is Sharia compliant and easy to apply, and it also help the customer to buy vehicle with up to 19% financing on the purchase. Types of service under Muamalat Vehicle Financing I is Murabaha, Wat Mulzim, Wakalah, and Run. The features of Muamalat Vehicle Financing I is have up to 19% of margin of financing, very easy to apply online, financing tenure up to 10 years, and fixed rate on profit date. Strength of Muamalat Vehicle Financing I is first, a low minimum monthly income such as RM 2,300, and this allow more middle class customer to use this service. Second, have an age of entry it from 18 to 95 years old, and open to all Malaysian. And lastly, the service based on the Sharia principle and allow Islamic customer to use this service. Last is limitation of Muamalat Vehicle Financing I. There is not a lot. It's just there's a late payment charge with amount of 1% only. Okay, the next financial service that provide under bank muamalat is leasing. Leasing is a contract between two parties, the lessor and the lessee. The lessor is a legal owner of the asset, while the lessee obtains the right to use the asset in return for regular rental payment. The name of service is Muamalat Leasing Al-Ijarah. This financing is based on the principle of Al-Ijarah. By definition, Al-Ijarah is a contract where the benefit or use of an asset is transferred by lessor as the owner to the lessee as a user at an agreed price or rental amount for an agreed period of time or less period. The type of muamalat leasing is al-ijarah, and the features of the service is 100% financing of invoice value. That first, and second, minimum amount of financing is RM 50,000. Last is bunching of documents in multiply RM 1,000 to reach the minimum amount of RM 15,000 is allowed for financing. The strength of this leasing muamalat al-ijarah is the service support the local purchase or import. And lastly is limitation of muamalat leasing al-ijarah is transaction document that more than 118 days before the drawing date, it will be declined by the bank. And the last product that provide under bank muamalat is banker acceptance. A banker acceptance is an instrument representing a promised future payment by a bank. The payment is accepted and guaranteed by the bank as a time draft to be drawn on a deposit. The draft specifies the amount of funds, the date of the payment, and the entity to which the payment is owed. The name of service under banker acceptance is acceptance bills I, and the type of service is murabaha and bai al-dain. So the features of acceptance bills I is based on the concept of bai al-dain and murabaha. Second, 100% financing of the invoice value. Third, minimum financing period is 20 days. And lastly, minimum of financing is RM 15,000. Next is strength of accepted bills I is to finance export for usage period of more than 6 months. The approval of the controller of foreign exchange must be obtained. And lastly is limitation of acceptance bills I. The service have two limitations. First is for export financing, maximum period is 365 days, means 1 year, but should not exceed the credit terms given by the seller to the buyer and the facility tenors. And second is for local sales, the usage period not exceeding the remaining tenor of the credit extended to the buyer and should not exceed in 395 days, means 1 year. Okay, that's all for financial service under Muamalat Bank.
Move on to the next part, background of the company. So, combination of asset and liability of the Islamic banking. Division of the bank, Bank of Commerce, BBMB Finance, Khazanah Nasional Berhad, hold 70% of the company share, while another 30% is held by Commerce Asset Holding Berhad. Mission MBSB Bank. First, MBSB Bank Berhad as a full-fledged Islamic bank vision to be the best and a top progressive Islamic bank throughout the globe and also here in Malaysia. Example of way for them to reach this vision is by using all the services and products that are Sharia compliant and by having great and professional Sharia advisory committee in the company. The third one is objective. The main objective for MBSB Bank is to offer their customer services and products and also helping to protect against money losing value, against inflation. MBSB Bank also try to make as much profit as possible while also being safe from any interest and riba. Type of industry and product. MBSB Bank provide two types of industry and product, which is consumer banking and banking business. Okay, the first one is consumer banking. There's a lot of product and services that are provided, for example, property and personal financing deposit account like saving, current and term account and of course not forgetting bank. Type of industry and product. Bank Muamalat Malaysia Berhad provide two types of industry and product, which is business banking and consumer banking. Number one is business banking. Under the business banking, there's a lot of product and services that are provided. For example, corporate banking, investment banking, SME financing, commercial banking, and trade finance.
Okay, Assalamualaikum. I am HIDAYAH. Now I'm going to introduce financial service of MBSB Bank Berhad. Name of the service for MBSB Bank Berhad. Equipment. I'd say equipment financing. MBSB Bank Berhad offers financing for their customer. And the acquisition of commercial vehicle and machineries. The service allows the customer to rent the users of the assets, and they subsequently purchase to the asset from MBSB Bank. Letter of Credit I. Letter of Credit I is a written undertaking by the bank given to the seller at the request and on the instruction of the buyer to pay on or in the future date, which must comply with the term and condition. And this is the type of services. First, equipment financing based on Ijara Tuma Albay or ITAP. Second, letter of credit Thirdly is cash line I don't get much, but letter of credit is Murabahah letter of credit and then Wakalah letter of credit Okay, this is the feature of services of equipment financing. It's able to be applied by sole proprietor or partnership and private limited companies. It also can apply for the asset like commercial vehicle and machineries or equipment. It's also free from any riba and totally based on Sharia compliant product. To the letter of credit, but you don't have to prepare or pay in advance for goods. has a relatively low cost and provide assurance to the sellers. Lastly, limitation of services. Limitation of services for equipment financing is high installment rate but is capped at CPR. To the letter of Credit Eye, it has a very sensitive expiration dates and needs of collateral and strict assessment.
I'm going to continue about comparison between both bank in products, which is hire purchase and bank acceptance. MBSB Bank provided equipment financing, and Bank Muamalat provided Muamalat vehicle financing I. They both have the same 90% margin of financing, but MBSB Bank provide up to 5 years of financial tenure. The Bank Muamalat provide up to 9 years of financial tenure. MBSB Bank provide letter of credit, which can be up to 100% of financing in the request, and from Bank Muamalat, which is acceptance bill I, that provide 100% financing invoice value, a minimum financial period of 21. Next, I'm going to be talking about the recommendation and suggestion on improving the service of banks. Firstly, I think banks should improve on their financing and marketing. Advertising is the most easiest way to attract customers. Nowadays, most of the banks use the old method of marketing, which is using brochures or ad on the newspaper. In my opinion, banks should do more electronic ads. We can clearly see this method being more efficient because most of the people nowadays are using their phones. Lastly, I think these two banks should make more competitive products. Here in Malaysia alone, there is more than 16 well-known banks that are competing with each other. I think banks should make their products a lot more accessible and more adaptable for all levels of financing. In conclusion, we know that banks plays an important role in the development economy in a country. In addition, we gain a lot of knowledge from banks in Malaysia and able to find out about products and financial services that are available in Malaysia. Thank you.